Hey guys, it's Chad with serveandvolleytennis.com. Today I'm going to show you how you can develop a advanced tennis serve, even if you're a beginner or you have a little bit of experience but your serve has not been the best. Now the serve can be the most complicated shot. The serve can be the most complicated shot in tennis because it requires a complex series of movements that we have to control from the beginning to the end. It's basically the only shot that we start and we finish. All other shots, the other player starts and we finish them. Now, because of this, many people can play years and never really develop the kind of serve that becomes a weapon. And my goal for you in this particular video is to help you achieve a serve that's formidable and do it quickly. How quickly? It depends on your athleticism and it depends on your talent level, but it could be a matter of weeks or it could be a matter of months. I'm going to be realistic with you. I'm not going to tell you you can develop an advanced serve in 3 days. If you work at it, maybe a couple of weeks, you could start serving 80, 90 miles an hour, start getting some aces in with the techniques I'm about to show you. Now, the serve that I'm going to show you in this video, it's not a beginner serve, it's actually sort of an advanced serve. I call it the abbreviated serve. It's an abbreviated serve motion where we're going to start with our racket up and we're not going to start in the classical position. Now, a coach taught me this serve years ago and I use it in my own game here and there. I was using it for years to great effect, and I might even go back to it after making this video because I was hitting some very good serves with it. And it provides me effortless power. I noticed that when I serve from the classical position, I have a few difficulties with that in generating a lot of pace. But when I start off already in the abbreviated serve motion, and we're going to go into all of this, I'm getting a lot more effortless pace. So I really truly think that if you have some experience throwing a ball, if you're an athlete, you can really develop this serve into a 90 to 100 mile per hour shot. And you could put spin on it as well. Now, there are 5 steps that go into this serve, and I'm going to go through each one with you now. There are 5 steps that go into making this serve awesome. And those 5 steps are: number 1, we have to, I'm going to go through it, don't worry. You're probably like, wait, it's going too quick. No. Trust me on this. This is going to be a long video because I'm going to take my time and really show you how to serve from a beginner standpoint or an intermediate standpoint into the advanced serve the easy way. You don't have to worry about anything else. I'm going to take care of it all for you. Now, the first step is going to be setting up in the ideal serve stance, positioning our feet correctly and our body correctly. Number 2, we've got to position our arm correctly. Number 3 is we have to have a very accurate toss. And I'm going to go through all the specifics on how to do this. Number 4 would be the swing up to contact. What's the proper way to do that? And number 5 would be the correct follow through. What is the correct follow through for the serve? All right, so without further ado, I want to get into this so you can get out to the tennis court, you can start improving your serve, and you can start playing tennis if you're a beginner. All right, here I am at the baseline. Typically, all right, a beginner that has no experience playing tennis is going to orient themselves directly to the net post, and that doesn't provide a lot of torque and power in the shot, and you have to use a Eastern forehand grip to hit that. So we're not going to do that, okay? Because that's like a total beginner serve. So the first thing that we need to do is just take a continental grip. A continental grip is going to be such as this, which is the hammer grip, where my knuckles, okay, my knuckles are going to be on the second bevel, my index knuckles on the second bevel right there. Don't worry, maybe I'll put an illustration up, but it's basically a hammer grip, so you want that racket to be straight out in front of you like this. This is the proper grip. Okay, so this is perpendicular to the ground. Once we've achieved this grip, don't worry about it because it's going to seem like, how can I actually serve because I'm going to be hitting with the edge? Don't worry, we're going to take care of it. Once I get to the baseline, this is the way I'm going to position myself. Okay, so let me show you. Your left foot is going to be the front foot, your right foot is going to be the back foot. My left foot is going to be right along the baseline at a 45-degree angle. My right foot is going to be parallel to the baseline, and it's going to be behind. Okay, so here you can clearly see the position of my feet. Okay, I have my left foot very close to the baseline. Now, important, you cannot touch the baseline or go over the baseline until you hit the ball. You have to strike. Once you strike the ball, then we can go over or touch the line, but not until. At a 45-degree angle to the baseline. Now the right foot is going to go in back over here, just like so, and it is parallel to the baseline, and it's in line with the heel of my left foot. And that is the proper serve stance. All right, by keeping our feet in that particular position, we set up in what's called the platform stance. The platform stance is where our feet remain in the same position until we strike the ball, and then one or both of our feet can start jumping or moving forward. I'll get into that in the step 5. But for now, that's the way we're going to position our feet. The way that our body is positioned is we want to orient. Now, when we set our feet up, we're going to automatically orient our shoulders and our chest to the right. Okay? So you can see I just set up in this position, and now already my chest is facing towards the side post. All right, so let's start this again. We're going to be in the continental grip. We're going to get our feet in the correct position as we just mentioned. And as I do this, you can see that my chest starts to orient to the right side of the court, almost to the fence. And this is where I want to position my shoulders and my chest towards the right, because this is going to allow me to get torque on the serve and allow me to come through with a lot more power than if I was facing the court. Now that brings us to step 2. Step 2 is to set up our arm in the correct position. And I call that the L shape or throwing motion. Okay, so if I make an L with my arm here with the L, it's going to look something like this. This is about a 90-degree angle. What I want is about a 45 to 75 degree angle. So I usually keep my arm at a 45 to 50 degree angle, so I bend my arm a little bit more. And if I have the racket in my hand, you can see it's going to look something like this. Okay, so 90-degree angle, maybe something here, and I like to get into a 45-degree angle. Now, this is what it's going to look like. We're going to get set up in our correct position, and once I get that racket up, I'm going to actually end up orienting even more to the right. Okay, so if I didn't have the racket up, I'd be here. Once I get that racket up, I want to keep my shoulders in line. Okay, I want my shoulders to be, you can see that my shoulders are in line here, straight across. And I want this racket to be a little bit almost directly in back of me here. So when I set up, you can see if I'm facing this way, you can see where the racket is. I want it to be all the way back here so I can have a little bit, maybe a little bit of a racket drop and come up and hit the ball. If I hold the racket to my right side, it's not going to be effective. If I have it too much behind my head, it's very awkward. Okay, so I want to have the racket starting right here. Another very key point is that I want the palm of my right hand to be facing away. So it's going to also be facing towards the right fence. Okay, so if I'm set up in my continental grip and I'm in this position here, my right palm is facing away. That's really important. Okay, so these are the important keys that you need to follow when setting up the racket in step 2. And I should add one more thing. You don't want to have a death clutch on the racket, because if you have a death grip on the racket, you're going to be way too tight. Your muscle is going to be tight. You're not going to generate power. You don't want to have the racket so loose, so you want to have maybe a medium grip. And I would also stress this on the grip. You may want to spread your index finger away from the rest of your fingers. If they're too close together, sometimes it causes you to tighten the grip as well. This gives us a little bit more control, and it actually can give us a little bit more power as well, to have the index finger spread away from the other fingers. Okay, congratulations, we're through steps 1 and 2. That wasn't so difficult, right? Just setting up our body in the proper way, getting our arm in the proper position, and now we're going to talk about the toss. Now, one caveat about the toss is that for some people, they just seem to struggle with the toss. If that's you, if it's difficult for you to toss, you need to isolate the toss and practice and practice and practice it over and over until you can get it into some type of location where you can hit the serve. Because if your toss is all over the place, I don't care if you have the best serve motion in the world, you're not going to be able to hit the ball. All right, so that's my caveat, and I got a little tip for you that you can use, or drill I should say, that will help you with the toss, and I'll get to that later on. All right, so let's get into the toss. And with the toss, this is step 3. Really important, we want to have the ball in our fingertips, okay? In our fingertips, not in our palm. We can control the ball a lot better with the fingertips than with the palm. All right, so when you toss that ball, you're going to hold it like an ice cream cone in your fingertips. Now, another important key is we want that arm to be perfectly straight. We never want to bend the arm on the toss. We want to keep that arm straight at all times. All right, so let's get set up in our proper position with our feet. I'll get my racket up, and when I make that toss, I want to toss the arm at a medium speed. If I go too slow, the ball's not going to have enough liftoff. It's not going to really go anywhere. If I go too fast, it's going to be very difficult to control the ball. And I see from beginners all the time, their arms are moving too fast. I would say too fast more times than not than slow. So we have to find the middle ground. So one key, or I should say one real good way to determine that, is to either have a coach or somebody watch you, or you can video your serve to see for yourself. Okay, so I've been playing quite a while, and I've developed a toss for myself, and you will too if you just play for a while. But it's very important that you get the toss right, because nothing else in the serve will work unless you do. Okay, so in the fingertips, now typically this is really good, is to start the toss from the left leg. Now again, I'm assuming that everybody's a right-handed player. If you're a left-handed player, you'll just do the opposite of everything. So we're going to start with that right hand and arm right on our thigh of our left leg. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to toss the ball, and when I toss the ball, I'm going to let go of the ball somewhere around top of head height, and I want that arm to continue to the sky, and I want to keep it there as long as possible. And when I say as long as possible, what I mean is we're going to keep it up there until it's time to swing, until it's time to make that forward swing. And I see a lot of people doing something like this, and then they drop the arm real quickly, or the arm never goes up completely. They just kind of let go here. Or some people will do this and they'll bend their arm. All those things will take away from the toss. So you might as well do it the right way, learn the right way, in the fingertips, from the thigh. And when we toss out, you might be wondering, which direction do we toss? I like to toss somewhere about a 45-degree angle. If I was tossing at a perfectly parallel to the baseline, I'd be going this way. But I find it's a little difficult because I want to toss a little bit into the court so that I can hit the ball, and I'm going to get into that soon too. If I toss straight out in front of me, it's also too difficult because I want to toss a little bit to my right. Now, where should we place the toss? Let's take a different camera angle so I can show you that. Setting up over here, and I have my racket in position. Where's my toss going to be? If I toss too far to the left, it's impossible for me to hit the ball because my racket is coming up here. Okay, so I cannot hit the ball here. If the ball is too far to my right, I can't hit it. The key to this is we want to keep our feet, we don't want to move our feet, we want to keep them in the same position. And I see so many people when they serve, their toss is not anywhere in their ideal location, they're moving their feet to adjust. If you have to do that, then you need to practice your toss because you cannot serve like that. Okay, you'll never, ever, ever have a good serve doing that. If you toss far away from you, such as like this, you're allowed, you're allowed to let the ball drop as long as you don't swing the racket and it doesn't count as a swing, all right? So you see that in the pros, sometimes they'll toss and they'll go, sorry, because their toss wasn't that good. So even the pros do it, so don't be alarmed or worried if you're not tossing perfectly, especially from the start. Okay, so where should our toss be? it should be a little bit out in front of us, maybe about 6 inches in front of us, maybe 6 inches to the side of us. Something like that is a good parameter. So it looks something like this. Okay, out here. So it looks something like this. Okay, something where it's a little bit out to the right of me and a little bit inside the baseline. Let's see again. Okay, one more time. Okay, so those tosses I can hit very well because I'm going to reach up and to my right, and I'm going to reach forward to hit those shots. Okay, let's see what the toss looks like from the side. You see it's a little bit out in front of me. Okay, so what you want is you want that toss to land inside the baseline, maybe 6 to 8 inches inside the baseline. Keep the hand up. One more time. Okay, perfect. And by tossing inside the baseline, it allows me to get my body weight forward and into the shot so I can have more power. If you're tossing, I see so many people do this. They toss like this over their head, and then they're hitting like, and they're almost going backwards when they're serving, right? We want to avoid that. All right, so the key takeaways: in the fingertips, toss from the thigh, arm medium speed, release head height, keep the arm up. Another important point, don't twist your fingers when you toss. Just keep your hand in the same position. Okay, so when I raise my hand up, I leave it in this position here. I see a lot of people twisting their arm. Okay, there's no need to have to twist your arm like this. We don't need to do that. Now, how high should the ball go up? We talked about how far to the right, how far forward. How high does the ball go up? Okay, typically it's going to be twice your body height. On this particular abbreviated serve, you don't need to go twice your body height. You can go a little bit less. So if you're 6 feet tall, you may want to toss 5 feet in the air above your head. All right, I know that seems high. It's really not. And that's really, why do we toss that high anyway? We toss that high because once we toss the ball, we need to get down, bend our knees, and we need to start to swing up. So we just need like a second or two to do that. And by tossing the ball a little bit higher, it gives us the time. If we toss the ball too low, we wouldn't have the time to serve. We would have rushed, and it would not be a good serve. All right, guys, we're through 3 steps now. We went through positioning the body with the right grip. We went through setting up our arm in the correct position. And we also talked about the toss. And I've went through all the details, so you should know everything you need to know about those things. By the way, if you want to read more about this, I wrote an entire article with all the details. It's on my website at serveandvolleytennis.com. I'll put the link below. All right, now we're going into step 4. Step 4 is going to be the swing up to contact. Now, there are some nuances on the swing that we have to be aware of, especially if you're a beginner, especially if you're not used to a throwing motion. All right, so when we have our racket here, you may be wondering, when do I actually start the swing? That's first, right? When do I start the swing? Well, you start the swing at the apex of the toss. So when you toss the ball and the ball goes at the pinnacle of the toss, where the ball starts descending, that's when you can start your swing. Okay, so that's a really good key point to determine when to start that swing. All right, so now the little nuances of the swing are, we want to, this is really important, when we start the swing, this is where the advanced part comes in. And all right, this is the part that could be a little tricky if you're kind of like doing it step by step. It should be a natural feeling. And I have ways to make it a natural feeling using the Serve Master, which I'll go into shortly, or at the end of this. So again, we're starting with the right hand palm facing away. As we initiate the swing and the elbow comes up, the right hand is now, the palm of the right hand is now facing to the left. And then as I come up, my racket is lagging behind until I make the contact. When I make the contact, my hand is going to be, my palm I should say, is going to be facing more towards the court. Okay, so it went from right, left, forward. So that's something that you could practice. So we're going to start to the right, go to the left, and then come up and make contact. to the right, to the left, forward, all right? And you can practice that with your palm, but it's probably better if you practice it with the serve master, again, which I'll get into. Now, when you do it with the racket, it's gonna look something like this in slow motion. Okay, and notice when I make contact, look at the angle. Okay, I'm not making contact at this angle here. I'm making contact at this angle because if you pronate correctly, and again, I don't want to stress, you know, do exactly this on, but if you think about the hand, that's the way to really think about it. Coming up like this, you're going to be in this angle right here. Now we don't want to hit directly above our head here. I don't want to be too far to the side. I want to be somewhere in this position. All right, so that is the swing up to contact, the basics of it. You like this angle? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate that from a different one. All right, so let's snap into it. All right, so let's demonstrate the swing to contact. I'll do it to the camera first, and then I'll do it the other angles. So as we toss, once the ball gets to the apex, my tossing arm is going to drop, and it's going to pull into the left side of my rib cage. Okay, it's just going to, you just let it drop naturally. So let's pretend that my toss is at the apex. I'm going to initiate the swing, and that's all I'm doing. So toss, lead with the elbow, swing to contact. Toss, contact. Again, that angle that I have on the racket, I'm not hitting the ball at this angle, I want to hit the ball here. Let's see what it looks like going that way. Okay, setting up in the proper way. Toss the ball. Now once you toss the ball, this is another key, we want to bend our knees a little bit. Keep our hand up, keep that racket in that same position. So when you do all this stuff, you're just keeping this racket in the same position. If you bend your knees when you toss, you're not changing the racket. Once the ball reaches the apex and we decide to swing, then we're going to lead with the elbow. Your hand is going to automatically, your palm is going to automatically face to the left. And you're going to lag with the racket, you're going to come up, and the palm is going to face the court. And that's the swing to contact right there. So the whole swing would look something like this. Okay? Now, what I do suggest when you start off is not to swing super fast. You could, and you can just try it out, see if it works for you. But what I like is, I like to just nice and slow so we can control it. Now you can't go too slow on the serve because it involves a series of movements where the ball is in the air and you have very limited time. But you know, don't try to kill the ball. Just try to control as fast as you can go under control. So I would toss, and something like at that speed I can control. All right, let's talk about the step 5, which is the follow through. All right, I'm going to go through everything again. Correct feet in correct position, body oriented to the side, racket up in the L shape or throwing motion, make the toss, bend the knees, make the swing, elbow leads, palms going to the left now, swinging up to contact. Now once I reach contact and hit the ball, from here, what happens with the feet? Now on an advanced tennis serve, the player will jump in and land on that left foot, that's righties. So it would look something like this. They bend the knees, jump onto that left foot. However, that's an advanced movement. If you feel that you're up to it and you can do that, do it. But for this serve, I think it's a lot easier if we keep the feet on the ground. You can come off a little bit, but when we toss, let's use that left foot as a hinge. And this is also ideal for players that are older or players that have joint issues where they don't want to get off the ground or don't want to get too far off the ground. So if you could think about that, left foot is kind of like the anchor. That left foot is going to remain on the ground. So as you swing up to contact, make contact, that right foot will come forward into the court. That's going to allow our body weight to transfer into the court. All right, so one more time. Toss. As we come up to contact, we step in. Now we're allowed to step into the court. As soon as the ball strikes the racket, then we can step. All right, let's see that from the side. So we get set up, we toss, swing up to contact, right foot goes forward into the court. Okay, I'm going to toss an actual ball. I'm actually going to serve the ball, and I'm going to show you the right foot going into the court. All right, so another important point about the follow through is once we make contact and we step in with the right foot and follow through, we want the racket to finish on the left side of the body. And I'm just allowing that to happen very naturally. I'm just coming through to the left side of the body. Swing up to contact, come through on the left side. Just let the arm fall forward and let your weight come forward, and that's it. That's the follow through. Once we reach this position, now we can get back into our ready position and get ready for the next shot. If we're going to serve and volley, then as we come forward with the right foot, now I'm going to take that step with the left and I'm going to head into the net. All right, so this serve motion, again, is good for people that are older with joint problems. You could use it to serve and volley, or you could just retreat back to the baseline to get ready for your baseline game. All right, guys, I have with me the Serve Master. This is a teaching device for the serve, or a training device for tennis, where it can really accelerate the rate at which you learn the serve. It has actually a handle that's made to use for the continental grip. So you have to use the continental grip to grab this. It has one for righty and one side for lefty. Okay, so you grab the right. This is what it feels like to be in the continental grip. And you have 2 balls at the end. Now they make these with 1, 2, and 3 balls. I like the ones with 2 balls because I could use them with kids and adults. And I use this myself just to warm up, just to practice my swing. Now I'm going to go through a series of progressions with this tool that you can use to accelerate your learning curve with this abbreviated serve motion that I just taught you. I want you to keep in mind that if you don't have the Serve Master, that's fine. You can use a sock with a couple of tennis balls at the end of it. Or you can use any type of thing that has like a whip-like motion with a handle, but the Serve Master is probably going to be the best. Okay, here I am in the baseline, and I'm going to take the continental grip. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up just like the way we talked about, with my feet in the correct position. That was step 1, body oriented to the right. Now I have the continental grip, so everything is good there. Step 2, I'm going to bring my arm up into the throwing position, which is also the L shape. Right? I like to achieve a 45 or 50 degree angle. You could have somewhere between 45 and 70, 75 degree. And you notice that the ball is just going to hang in back. That's fine. And I'm going to have my arm up here, shoulders in line. Third step is I'm going to toss. So I could do this with a ball, or I could do it without a ball. I'm doing it without a ball right now to make it simple. From my thigh, I'm going to toss. And once I toss, okay, I'm going to swing up and come through with the right leg. That's all there is to it. Okay, so that's just going through it. This is my first pass through it. So if you're making your first pass, you may want to just do the steps, maybe not in a fluid motion, but you may always want to say, okay, toss and maybe swing forward. You could catch the Serve Master so the balls don't hit you in the back. So if we're going to make it fluid, we do something like this. Toss, swing. One more time. Toss, swing. And that's how we use the Serve Master to help us with this abbreviated serve. Now you could go through this, just practice over and over and over. The Serve Master is an awesome tool to actually, you could use it to learn the whole serve if you want, but for the sake of learning the serve really quickly, instead of doing the whole motion, the whole classic motion where we do all this, we're cutting that out and we're just starting from here. And guys, let me tell you something, you could have a super powerful serve just doing that. I'm going to demonstrate a few serves right now to show that to you. All right, let's hit a few serves, shall we? And what I suggest also is, in the beginning, start off slow. Don't try to hit full speed. I just showed you a couple full speed. You may want to do something like this. okay, where you're moving the arm a little slower, you're working a little bit more on control, and just get those balls in. Okay, last couple for today. Alright guys, that was the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and you can go out there and actually perform these steps to create a serve that's going to be a weapon for you. So the serve will no longer be an issue. Or if you're a total beginner, this will bring you up to speed to give you a very nice serve. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I would highly appreciate it. I come out with content regularly, both on the YouTube channel and on my blog. As well, leave me a comment. Let me know if you thought the tips I provided here were helpful, or if it's just something that's really out of the reach for a beginner if they're too advanced. And if it's too advanced, I'll make another beginner serve that's even easier. But guys, again, the Serve Master is really going to help you with this. Practice these steps, and I guarantee you, if you just work on it, don't give up too soon, keep working on it, you're going to have a good serve. Again, Chad with serveandvolleytennis.com. Thanks for watching, signing off. I'll see you in the next one.